I see. It sounds like Group A had quite an eventful couple of days, too. Yeah, though I find it kind of hard to believe you could have seen the ghost of Leanne Sandlot. That's ridiculous. Are you sure you weren't just hallucinating or something? You can think whatever you like. We totally saw her, I swear. Well, ghost or not, there was definitely someone there besides us. Anyway, that's enough about ghosts and spirits for the time being. I'm more concerned about the affairs of the living, like where Tobal and Radiant Blade Master went. It sounds like Duke Cayenne is up to something too, and he's not someone we can afford to take lightly. Wait, why do we have to take them lightly? We're just a bunch of students. We're just a bunch of students. We're just students. Stop acting like it's our job to save everybody. I mean, eventually yes, but right now we're just students. This is the first game in the series. We're just kids. We don't have any business in getting involved with the fight between the commoners and the nobility and stuff. That's not our job. We're just on a field study, dadgummit. We're learning how to be adults. We're not trying to save the world. Sarah, you go save the world and leave us out of it. We didn't run into anything like that in the dry special economic zone. Though I guess that makes sense, seeing as it's under the direct control of the imperial government and not a noble. I seem to recall that it was annexed 8 years ago, is that right? Yeah, the Empire stitched it on nice and neat without much opposition. Now it's prospering as a special economic zone on the coast. Seemed like a pretty lively place. And the revenue generated from taxes there goes directly to the imperial government's coffers, instead of the pockets of the nobility. It's hardly a mystery why the reformists think so highly of it. Well, that aside, I'm a little concerned about the upcoming trade conference in Crossbell. Same goes for the Imperial Library. I always say that word wrong. Same goes for the Imperial Liberation Front. They've been awfully quiet since that show they put on last month. Now that you mention it, that does seem rather suspicious. Is that related somehow to why we're going to Garrelia Fortress? Well, it's not the main reason, but it's not entirely unrelated. I'll let you look forward to finding out all about it when we get to the fortress itself. Anyway, how many of you have passed through Garrelia Fortress by train before? I see. Just us, huh? I can't wait to see everyone's first reactions. True. Why is that? Well, I've seen it in photographs at least. A camera can't really capture how ridiculous it is. Yep, it's supposed to be this macho gateway to the Empire, but it just seems like it's trying way too hard. What's that supposed to mean? The gateway to the Empire and one of the largest military bases in the country? I look forward to the chance to see it in person then. The train carrying Class 7 continued its ride on the transcontinental line, heading towards the east. They passed through the Twin Dragons Bridge, Croydon Provincial Army Base, and several stations later, it was finally time to pass through the Garrelia Fortress, which loomed large on the border with Crossbell State. The Ministry of Railways wishes to thank all passengers for their patronage. The next stop is Garrelia Fortress. Garrelia Fortress. This train will stop for 5 minutes. Please be aware that only authorized personnel may disembark at this station. Be advised that all orbital photography is strictly prohibited within the fortress and is punishable by imperial law and beheading. Wait, what? Any attempt at unauthorized recording may result in the confiscation of your equipment or detention by the authorities and beheading. Wow, that was kind of... It sounded pretty severe for a train announcement, especially the beheading part. Well, we are passing through a military facility. I don't think they're being unreasonable. Do you really think that's the issue here? I'm not sure having that be one of the first things a foreign visitor hears gives a very good impression of the country. Oh, we're finally here. What in Idios name is that? The scale is just... This is Guerrilla Fortress? This entire place is built from iron and concrete? Just how much money has the army dumped into building all of this? Yep, that was about as entertaining as I'd hoped. Not that I'm surprised, I thought the same thing when I first saw it. From the crossbow side, all you can see is a clip though. Yeah, but those two railway guns still poke out through. Hey instructor, what did you bring us out here to show us? What else? We're here so you can see the true essence of what makes an army. What compromises the military strength and forms its foundation. And what other place in the Empire has that on display as clearly as here? Who are they? Engineers and tradesmen mostly. You'll see a lot of them around here. Keeping a fortress this size up and running is a full-time job for more than just military people. So it seems. It's almost like its own town here. On the other side of this fortress, it's more or less a straight shot to Crossbell City, right? To think that such a bustling center of trade is so close to a massive military facility like this. Yeah, Crossbell City is only about 30 minutes away by train. From the top of the fortress, you can even see the skyscraper where the trade conference is going to take place.
I see you've arrived.
Oh, Instructor Neidhart!
Good morning, Major Neidhart. Instructor Valestein of Thor's Military Academy, homeroom teacher for Class 7. Reporting the arrival of myself and all students in my care.
Acknowledging your arrival at 11:30 hours. Welcome to Guerrilla Fortress. In addition to my teaching duties at the Academy, I hold the rank of Major in the Imperial Army's 4th Armored Division. I'll be acting as your guide, as well as your instructor for special lectures during your time here at the fortress. Now, if you'll follow me.
So before I read this, I just wanted to say really quick, I don't know who the voice actor is for Neidhart, but I feel like they really nailed it. I don't know why, he's just one of those minor characters where their voice, like, I mean, I say minor character, but I mean, he's not really a major character. He's an important character, a reoccurring minor character, but he's not a major one. But anyway, for a character that is not as significant as, say, Sarah, for example, he is, his voice is really good. Like, they did a good job on his voice, particularly. I thought voice acting in this game is generally very good across the board, which, to be fair, at the time that this game came out, not common. RPG voice acting has gotten a lot better, but you gotta remember this came out in like 2013, maybe 2013. I think, I don't remember off the top of my head. The older game, it's a PSP game, so voice acting was not always considered the most important part. So I think that they did a really good job with the cast in this game. And I've totally gotten off on a tangent again. Sorry, here we go. Including today, you have 2 days remaining in this month's field study. However, we won't be assigning you any tasks during that time. Instead, you'll be participating in a series of special lectures and a field trip. A field trip? Here? So what exactly does that entail, instructor? At 1400 hours today, a joint military exercise will be taking place at Guerrilla's Proving Ground. The 4th and 5th Armored Divisions will both be participating, and you will be observing it. We're going to watch a military exercise? The 4th Armored Division, huh? The 4th Armored Division is led by none other than Elias' dad, Lieutenant General Olaf Craig. By all accounts, it's one of the strongest armored divisions in the Imperial Army. And did you know our friend the Major here is their most promising young member? It's true. Moving on. As I said, you'll only be observing this exercise, not actively participating. I imagine that has some of you feeling rather relieved, doesn't it? It does sound like a pretty easy assignment after all. But we'll see how many of you feel the same after experiencing it for yourselves. That's all from me. It's currently 11:500. I don't know how to do it. 11:50 hours. Lunch has been prepared for you in the mess hall. I advise you all to eat. Your field trip isn't something to be undertaken on an empty stomach. I like how Neidhart's sitting alone. So this food, we have salty corned beef, and I think I'm getting a hint of peas from the soup. You could use this bread as a lethal projectile. I do think it wouldn't have hurt to use a few more herbs or flavors in general. Or just a flavor in general. Calling this edible would be generous. I've heard plenty of rumors about the food they serve in the Imperial Army, but I wouldn't have guessed they'd all be true. Huh. I didn't think the food they served in the mess hall at Cinder Gate was all that bad, though. I don't think it would kill them to serve something a little more appetizing. This is the exact same thing they served when I came here with my class last year. Probably from the same batch, too, by the look of it. Really brings back memories. I was pretty surprised the first time my dad brought me to eat here, too. Huh, you guys really think it's that bad? It really brings back memories for me, too. At least there's some cheese and an apple. The food served in the army makes use of common ingredients that are easy to preserve and store. The ingredients used to make all the food on your trays can be easily stockpiled in large quantities. So, even if a war were to break out, a meal like this could still be served without any trouble. So that explains it. I see. So the army serves simple foods all the time to avoid the decrease in morale from wartime rationing. We feed you the bad crap so that in case we have to feed you the bad crap, you don't complain about not having the good stuff. Well, not all the time. However, one can think of this food as a philosophical statement from the continent's strongest army, in the sense that it suggests that soldiers should live and work each day as though a war effort depends on them. Every day? so they should be just as tense during times of peace as during times of war. Well, it's a bit too much mind over matter idealism for my taste, but it's worth being aware of. And to throw a different perspective in the mix here, the food the provincial armies serve is actually pretty good. Good enough that you can't help but wonder how they'd cope if an actual war were to ever break out. Well, it's not like serving good food means you have a crappy army. I hear our neighbor Liberal serves up some pretty tasty food in their army. Liberal's army is fairly elite, probably because the threat of being neighbors to the Empire keeps them tense. I feel a little conflicted hearing you say that. Well, these things are all about finding a good balance. Variety is the spice of life, you know? If you eat nothing but dull, bland food all the time, well, you know what they say, you are what you eat. I could do with fewer of your pithy remarks in my diet, Instructor Wallenstein. Anyway, as you heard, there's going to be a military exercise at the proving... Why is that word so hard? At the proving ground at 2 in the afternoon today. It's 12:30 right now, so you have an hour to do whatever you like. They'll make an announcement half an hour before, so be sure to listen for it and do whatever it tells you. Understood. So when you say whatever we like, does that mean we can tour the fortress? Of course, you're welcome to roam around as long as you don't poke your nose into any restricted areas. So go ahead and explore. There's plenty worth seeing here, like the command center. Though if you're feeling a little tired from your field study so far, you're welcome to rest in your rooms. It would be a shame to waste such a valuable opportunity. I suppose I should at least get a general overview of the fortress. Oh yeah, Tobel gave me a call about what happened in the Gram. So you had a mechanical monster show up outside the city limits? Yeah, Tobel looked pretty concerned when we first mentioned it to him too. Do you know anything about them? Well, I'm no stranger to the group that makes them. They go by the name Ouroboros. They're a secret society of sorts that acts in the shadows all across the continent. A secret society? We don't know how many members there are, what they're capable of. Honestly, we don't know much about them at all. What we do know is that they have access to technology more advanced than the most cutting-edge research institutes. And that they're behind several crises that have threatened to shake the foundations of entire nation-states. And those are the people who made those monsters? If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I'd find it hard to swallow, but there's no denying what we saw out there. Well, you don't need to come to grips with it just yet. We call the mechanical monsters like the ones you guys fought archaisms, and lately it seems like an awful lot of them have made their way onto the black market. There's been one sighting after another these days, all over the Empire and beyond. Wow, that's heavy. Does that mean there's a chance they might be plotting something here in Erebonia? Just in your opinion, I mean. Well, that's the tricky thing about them. It doesn't necessarily mean that at all. There have been cases where we know they put archaisms out into the wild purely to test their abilities, for example. Still, it's something to keep in the back of your mind at least. Right, I'll be sure to let the others know too. Oh, are you taking a rest, Emma? I did take a short walk around, but everything about this fortress is so imposing. It made me feel a little faint. I feel you there. Looking at Emma now, it's hard to believe she's the same person who almost single-handedly guided us through that castle. Reen? Nah, never mind. But there is one thing that's bugging me lately. Ever since we arrived in the Gram, I feel like just out of the corner of my eye I catch glimpses of this small black shadow following us. But ever since we got to the fortress, I haven't seen it. But really? Maybe you were possessed by something. Possessed? Yikes, that's kind of an unsettling thought. It is, isn't it? Ooh, I'm glad I told her to go back when we reach Celtic. I'd heard about the fortress from my father, but seeing it in person really drives home its incredible scale. Oh yeah, your father helps train the Imperial Army in swordsmanship, doesn't he? I can see why he's so busy if he's going around training all the soldiers in places this massive. Indeed, I feel like the reality of that is finally sinking in for me as well. I have no idea how his teachings are actually being applied though. Perhaps we'll have the opportunity to find out during today's military training exercise. I'm looking forward to it. The soldiers here seem pretty well trained. Pretty well equipped too, like you'd expect from the Empire's biggest fortress. You need to put in some serious prep time if you wanted to topple it. B, I'm not sure that's something you should say within earshot of the soldiers. Old habits die hard. So you're the students who have come to tour the fortress. Yes, sir. He's wearing an officer's uniform. I wonder if he's... This is Lieutenant General Walter, commander of the Corellia Fortress. He also serves as the division's commander for the 5th Armored Division, which is stationed here. Ah, I apologize for not greeting you sooner, sir. Thank you for granting us the opportunity to tour the fortress. It really is an honor. Well, at least you aren't lacking in manners. Hardly built like a soldier, though. I have my doubts that you'd be able to endure the military's training regiment with a physique like that. You sure you're training them properly, Major? My apologies, sir. Though I hear the Academy has a former bracer as their combat instructor, they must really be scraping bottom. I've heard of the Purple Lightning before, of course, but a bracer is still a bracer. Leaving such an important role in the hands of a civilian is ridiculous. The famous Thor's isn't what it used to be. Well, no surprises here. It's like he fills in every box on the checklist for stereotypical Imperial Army soldier. Anyway, as Fortress Commander, allow me to welcome you to Corellia. Keep in mind, though, that we're constantly on alert for potential threats from the east. I have no problem with your class conducting your field study here, but see that you don't get in the way. Of course, sir. Very well, I'll take my leave here, as I have business to attend to. Ooh, he's certainly strict. Well, he is responsible for keeping one of the Empire's most vital defensive fortifications running smoothly. Considering the ongoing tensions between the Empire and the Republic, you should be grateful he allowed you to come at all. I won't forget it. Now, I'm afraid I must excuse myself as well. You're welcome to tour the rest of the fortress, but don't try to enter the command center. Of course, good luck with your work, instructor. I'll see you later then. Seems like this is the hangar for tanks and armored cars. Kind of staggering to see so many of them lined up in one place. I'm not looking forward to this. You've never seen any military exercises before, right, Reen? Yeah, this will be my first time. I take it that you have then? Yeah, my dad showed me one on the last time he brought me here. He really does want me to join the military, but I really don't think I'll ever be suited for it the way he is. I get where you're coming from. The more I hear about his dad, the more curious I get. I'm not entirely sure how to feel seeing so many Oxens lined up like this. The Ryboflavin company makes these, don't they? Unfortunately so. I'm sure they'll be using them for this military exercise too. As far as I can tell, they'll be pitted against the older automated models. That sounds pretty brutal. The older tanks won't stand a chance. Well, that's kind of the point. They want to show off just how easily the Oxens can dominate them. Well, you don't get the chance to go eyes on with this stuff every day. I'll take the opportunity to see for myself just how competent they are. That's just like her. Wow. I can't believe the size of this place. Oh, give me that uniform. You must be one of the students from Thor's. Feel free to look around all you like, but try to stay out of the way. We're all incredibly busy at the moment. So, if you don't mind, I'd ask you to make your way to the corridor over there instead of hanging around here. Understood. Thank you very much. Might as well head over there. Gaius, are you okay? I'm just kind of shocked by how different the atmosphere here is from Zinder Gate. Well, it is a major military base right on the border with Crossbell. I never imagined it to be quite this big, though. This place is such a departure from Zinder Gate that I can't believe that this is the same military. Although, perhaps this is the true face of the Imperial Army. This fortress is very definition of oversized. And that's ignoring the excessive display of military power. I imagine that the posturing is meant to show the Croydon Provincial Army that they could crush them on a whim. I forgot what this place probably means to you and your family. I suppose. While I don't agree with my father's actions, I can't say I'm comfortable with this fortress presence either. In fact, I find it hard to believe that anyone could sleep peacefully near a fortress like this. Oh, I guess you can't see it from here after all. We'd be able to see it from here, from where the railway guns are, but they'll get mad if we get too close to them. What are you up to now, Milliam? You know that huge Orcus tower where they're holding the trade conference? I'm trying to get a good view of that. Oh yeah, they mentioned it in the Imperial Chronicle and on the radio. Can you actually see it from all the way over there? Over here? That'd be incredible. Would I ever lie to you? I wish I could have gone with Gramps instead of being stuck on some stupid field study. Why'd you join Class 7 then? Speaking of which, they're going to be holding the keynote session here tomorrow. I wonder what they'll be talking about during it. Most probably thinking it's just going to, most people are thinking it's just so they can decide on financial rules and stuff for Westerns and Meria. But I think it's really going to end up being about who Crossbell belongs to. Knowing Gramps, he might even try to get Crossbell to become part of Erebonia. Seriously? Hehe, the prince is really going to be there too, so he'll probably just try and shake everybody up a bit. Unbelievable. Tell was there too though, so here's hoping things go well. Looks like this is the Fortress Airport. There might come a day when I find myself in a military airship. Oh, fucking there they are. God damn. Crazy, it really is night and day. Yeah, it's hard to imagine two places more diametrically opposed. What's wrong, you two? Oh, we were just talking about how different this place is to Jirai. Jirai was super lively, but this place... I think Crow's having some withdrawals now that he's somewhere without easy access to a casino at all times. I can imagine. It seems like everyone's talking about Jirai these days, though. Was it really that amazing? It was. I didn't know what to expect with the recent annexation by Erebonia, but everything looked fine to me. It has offices, an entertainment district, and all kinds, and all of the people I saw were thoroughly enjoying themselves. I'd go as far as to say that they're happy to be under the Imperial government's control. I don't know if I'd go that far. Oh? A little bird told me Chancellor Osborne was the one behind the annexation in the first place. It also told me he used some pretty forceful tactics to get them to agree. And of course, most of their tax money takes a brand new detour straight into the Imperial government's pockets. I wouldn't be surprised if he made the annexation happen just to fatten his pocketbook. But paying taxes is a citizen's duty. It's only natural that they do so now that they're run by Erebonia's protection, right? Sounds like this is a pretty complicated issue. Okay, that should be everybody now. This bulletin is to inform all Thor students that preparations for today's military exercise are now complete. Please assemble in the hangar immediately. Your transport is standing by. I repeat. That's Instructor Neidhart. The time must have passed more quickly than I thought. I suppose I should start making my way towards the hangar. Maybe I'll run into the others on my way.